Chapter 6, Mishnah 2. The Mishnah discusses what percentage of impurities or inferior items a buyer must accept when buying various items. If someone sells produce such as grain or beans to his fellow, the buyer must accept up to a quarter kav of impurities, such as straw or pebbles, for each sa'ah of produce that he buys. A sa'ah equals 6 kavs. Thus, a buyer of produce must accept that up to 1/24th of his purchase will be waste material rather than produce, for it is common to find this much waste matter in grain or beans that have been harvested. Similarly, if someone is buying figs, he must accept up to 10 wormy figs for each 100 that he buys, for it is common for 1 in 10 figs to have worms. If one sells the contents of a cellar of wine to his fellow, the buyer must accept up to 10 barrels of inferior wine, i.e. wine that has begun to sour, but is not yet sour enough to be considered spoiled, for each 100 barrels that he buys. It was common for up to a tenth of one's wine to turn sour in this way, so the buyer must accept this amount of souring wine. The final case of the Mishnah deals with the purchase of empty wine barrels. If one sells earthenware barrels to his fellow in the Sharon Valley region of Eretz Israel, the buyer must accept up to 10 inferior barrels for each 100 that he buys. The clay in the Sharon Valley was of poor quality, and some of the barrels that were produced there would leak or crack, so someone who buys barrels there must expect that up to 10% of the barrels he buys will be imperfect.